Hello. Um, so live tonight for going to have a guest come in and speak about his path to his path through recovery from substance misuse. So it's going to be quite an interesting conversation. I think he's a very nice bloke. Hammers, 2 Up 2 Down Hammers is his name on YouTube. And he's a great guy. I speak to him away from YouTube. Hi, Ben. How you doing, mate? Yeah, I speak to him away from YouTube on the phone and stuff. So here he is. I'm gonna put him on. I'm gonna mute myself, and he's gonna have a chat with you guys. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good.
So, yeah, floor's yours, mate.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, let me just get set a little bit. Right, so good evening, everybody. I hope you're well. Just say that, some of the stuff I may share may be a bit upsetting to you. I do apologise for that, but I will give you a warning that some of it, it's a little bit graphic. I have censored it a little bit. It's my life story. It's the truth. It's my truth, and it's my experiences. What has helped me stay off the drugs and alcohol a day at a time, and that's how I've got my clean time today. And anyone who is struggling, you can seek help. I kept doing the same thing over and over again, and I couldn't stop. I said to people used to say to me, "Why don't you just stop? Why don't you just stop?" Well, I couldn't stop, and I didn't know how to stop. And but someone who's not an addict or alcoholic will not understand that. You just say to another person that, "Why don't you just stop?" Anyway, so let's begin. My first encounter when I knew that something wasn't right with me was, in actual fact, before I even took a drink or a drug. It was started from a young age at school. I just wasn't really there. I wasn't, I didn't particularly like going to school. I didn't particularly like learning. The only time I enjoyed myself was in the playground. But when I was in the classroom, I found myself just staring out the window. I was always talking, and getting in trouble with the teachers and whatnot. Or was always the one who kept getting caught anyway. But that's when I didn't realise that at the time. But when I look back, I can see that something just wasn't right. And also, I had a mind what just kept going over. I wouldn't say it was kind of OCD, but something wasn't clicking right. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't, But I guess that's where my parents, Christmas time. I don't know if anyone else is similar, probably. I think it was a thing to do. But we used to have a snowball or something for Christmas. Well, even at a young age, I knew that wasn't strong enough for me, and I wanted some of what my dad was drinking. So one day at a party, there was something on the floor, and so I sort of sat down on the floor. As a young one, I think I was 10 years age, 9 or 10 years of age, and I do believe it was either a Scotch or something. It was like a better double. I put it to my mouth and I drank it. Well, I drank like at least half of it, and I looked like I sort of lit up. You know what I mean? And once that went down, and that, it sort of like something inside me lit up, and wow, you know, is that what I've been looking for, kind of thing? And it went on from there. Like, you know, I remember nicking like one of my dad's gold labels. He used to have like 4 gold labels like every other night or something. And I had one of them, and it was just, you know, something from a young age. I just wanted to anaesthetise. Then, then we we was the old trains years ago. You used to have the trains, and you used to have the buffets, and so they had like a little bar on the train. But so they used to park the trains up overnight and go away. Like, so we as youngsters jumped on the train and like got all the alcohol and cigarettes from the train. And another place we used to get lots of alcohol from. So, you know, there was always like a supply of alcohol. Anyway, at the age of 15, you know, family life, I had 5 brothers, including myself, and, you know, it was carnage because you know, I was a nuisance indoors, and my mum couldn't handle me, bless her. She passed away, you know, at a young age, but she couldn't handle me and my brothers. You know, I should kick off with them. So my dad used to like give me a firm hand, and you know, I didn't particularly like that till one day my mum was chopping some bit of meat on the table, and my dad went to get something at the kitchen to tell me off, right, to give me a beating, and I stood up to him. You know, I won't say what I sort of threatened him with, but you know, I'm sure you can work it out. And he threw me out of his house. So from then, um, I contacted social services, and I said that I'm homeless and that. And then eventually I was into Christian not rehab, but Christian care centre, and I was smoking a lot of stuff in there, like a lot of puff and whatnot. Um, that I was doing all the time. I was smoking lots of cannabis and drinking. Then it started with I was yeah I got my flat when I was 18, and I was doing a lot in the rave scenes and whatnot. I used to love to go into raves and whatnot, and shows you like I remember one. You know, loved the rave scene. Well, I didn't love the rave scene that much. Probably loved the drugs more than the rave scene. But I bought all those stuff for my flat, and you know, I was really itching to get out and that and take ecstasy and whatnot. And I come back and I phoned my mate up and said, who wants to buy a telly in a brand new telly, a brand new fridge freezer? So anyway, I ended up selling it, taking my mate to Astoria down the square, I think it's, yeah. And yeah, we went out and did, you know, just got peeled up and that, and that was just, you know, looking back at it, you know, crazy, like doing silly things like that. You know, you just got no home and that. And then so from then it was just, you know, a lifestyle with just carnage. I used to go football as well. I'm a West Ham supporter, if you don't already know. And yeah, so we used to go football, and it gone from like cannabis to other stuff, and then it went on to cocaine. So we used to like drink a tenant's extra and cocaine, and it wasn't really a good mix. But you didn't know that at the time, you just done that, and then started to fight other football hooligans and things. And I was only like a youngster, and I didn't know what I was doing, but it was, you get a bit of fuel in you, just like what happens every week in town centres. Anyway, so as I was getting a little bit older, it started, it was a pub scenes, and it was the same thing, like, I, I, I had periods of holding the jobs down. I had some really, really good jobs as well, but I think through me addictions and whatnot, I couldn't hold a job down. So yeah, then a little bit later on, um, I met my son's mum. Um, yes, so oh no, sorry, just to go back to my brother. Yeah, my brother, he was pretty much like me, and he ended up, my older brother that was, so he ended up like, used to like his alcohol and drugs and that, and he ended up dying from partially because of his addiction and that really done me. Like, as I say, my mum died at a young age. I was 18 when she passed away, and little things like that just kept me going. Like, it was no, it was there was no excuse for me to do it. I used whatever I could to use drinking drugs, and oh, it's her fault, it's his fault, it's their fault, and it was nobody's fault, it was mine. I thought I enjoyed drugs and that until it got too much. And when I was an adult, I used to drink 6 cans a night, and I couldn't stop it. I just could not stop. And I used to think, well, it's only like 6 cans and that, and I just could not stop at all. So when I met my son's mum, I just thinking if I missed anything out and that. But when I met my son's mum, she was just like myself, and yeah, we was, she held a job, but we used to drink together, uh, puff, and she never used to take the other stuff. And every now and again, I used to do a bit of that. I did calm it down for a little bit then, but anyway, so as I say, like, it got to the stage where I knew I had a problem. I couldn't do nothing about it. And, lots of people used to say to me, why don't you go and get help? Why don't you go to AA? Why don't you go here, there? And I just didn't take none of that into consideration, like, because I don't know, I just didn't really think, I thought I could manage it, you know what I mean, when I couldn't. So, yeah, it got to the stage where, everything I've done, I couldn't do properly, I messed it up, I made excuses for my drinking. And it's just one big excuse, like, you know, you just excuses about excuses, or you just palm it over, like, even loved ones used to say to me, I mean, the things I used to say to people, and that's another thing, my mouth was shocking, absolutely shocking. More, well, more so on alcohol. And cocaine and that. Just like evil, nasty person. And you know, so some people just couldn't give me through my tongue, like, you know, my mouth was just, it just done them, and they wouldn't forgive me, which is understandable. You know what I mean? You know, it's difficult sometimes. And it got to the stage where I was going out a lot with, you know, I was about 40, you know, well, between 30s and 40s. I go going regular football and out and drinking a lot with the boys, and it was like every weekend it was the same thing: alcohol, cocaine. Like, um, if I got home and there was no trouble, then you know, I escaped it. It was a good night, but I don't know. A lot of the time, I sort of looked for that sort of stuff, and other people around me did. And I remember that my myself and my partner, son's mum, wasn't getting on. So I had two step girls with my son. Um, we went to, well, sorry, she went to Greece and I followed her out there. It was a big kick off over there. That's right, yeah, I took cocaine out there with me and she didn't like it. It was a big kick off. And we were separated, so we went totally different parts of the island. And come back, I was in separate parts of the plane. I think that was on the, that was, I think that was on September. And when I come back, like, she didn't want to see me. I tried and tried, you know what I mean? As you do whilst you're on a drink and that, you don't listen. And one night, it was Christmas Day 2004. Just a pre-warning, like, you know, this may upset some people. It's warning about violence. So please, if you are sensitive, please turn away, turn the volume. So yeah, it's Christmas Day 2004, and I come back about 4 o'clock, no, about 3 o'clock in the morning from drinking with the West Ham boys, and I got indoors. So this was Christmas Eve. I was out Christmas early hours in the morning, come in, and I just burst into tears and that. You know, I thought, you know what, you know, how sad are you? You're in your flat on your own and that. You're not got no presents. I just thought, so I wanted to be with me boy. I had a card here for him, but she didn't want me to see him under no circumstances. She didn't want. And she knows how much I love my boy and that. Like, as I say, it wasn't. You know, we only had a row abroad and whatnot, but I think there was more to it, which I come to understand. So you know, I burst into tears and I started calling her, but I was calling her, calling. She must have been warning me, but I was in what I know as a drunken blackout, where, you know, I kept doing something, things was happening, but later on I wouldn't remember what had happened earlier. So I didn't know what drunken blackout was until I went to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I'll come to. And yeah, so I keep ringing up. I think about 4 o'clock in the morning or so. This fella's got on the phone and he went, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And truthfully, like, if I'd have been sober, I would have thought, you know, I'm not down man now. But I just turned around and said, "Listen, mate, I don't give a fuck who you are. That's my son and I'm coming to see him." And that was the words I said. I'll never forget that. because that's how I was. That's my fucking son. You know what I mean? Don't get in the way. And uh, yeah. So I kept phoning people. I think actually, but I phoned the Samaritans, and I actually, and anyone who wants help, and I think they've changed a little bit since then. Anyone else who wants help, who do suffer with mental health or loneliness, thoughts of suicidal thoughts or anything, you can call the Samaritans on 116 123, and that's a free phone too. They will text you. You can text them or call them. Anyway, they're coming to this bit, uh, you know, and as I say, it still does me to this day. You know what I mean? Because I'm still kind of, I'm still healing from it. Yeah. So I phoned friends and whatnot. I was told, two different friends, come here for Christmas dinner, Joe. Just come here. Don't go around here. Don't go around here. Don't go around here. I phoned one of my close mates who was a bit of a lunatic as well. But anyway, he said, look, anyway, he turned up on my door, picked up the card, and he dropped me round there. And I knocked at the door. Didn't hear nothing. Anyway, her car pulls up from the drive. And she opens the door and she walks through the hallway to the front room. And I'm standing outside. Maybe I sensed something, I don't know. And I just said, look, you didn't have to leave it like this. All I want to do is see my son and tell him I love him, give him the card. And so there was like about 30 seconds gap. I took one step and then another step, and to the right, that was the stairs. And there was a little toilet on the right as well. So as I took the second step, I turned to my right and there was this big figure. So I just flew backwards. I just was running backwards. And then this big guy's come running after me. Anyway, so I've gone right over the other side of the road and I fell down. And he's got if anyone remember the pickaxe handle, it's just the handle. It was a long handle, like very thick. It was one of the old pickaxe handles. And so I've fallen down, and previous to this, I've been training with a geezer at the Hard Bastard book. So there's a book called The Hard Bastards, and no, I won't say his name. And yeah, he taught me a bit of Wing Chun, and it was like, I should have had my arm like in a 45-degree angle. Well, I had it like that over my head, and when the back come down, he went to like put me to sleep like permanently, and so instead of having my arm at a 45-degree angle, it was situated just above my head. And anyway, so this arm snapped. So I was also the arm was over my nose, so the back went straight down to my nose, and I just see this big flash of light, and in the process of me being sort of semi-conscious, like he's breaking ribs and he's hit me in the nuts and he's just making a right mess of me. In the process of that as well, my friends come running out of the car because he can see what he's doing to me, and he thinks like he's gonna like get him, you know what I mean? So yeah, so my friend come out of the car, and by this time I'm coming to, and I can hear a little bit of a commotion. Anyway, I've got up. I'm still like under the influence and can't feel no pain. The arm's snapped at the forearm. I'm not in any pain apart from me bollocks. So I stood up, and then my mate's gone to give him well, he's giving him a right hook. No, sorry, he's giving him a left hook. The geezer didn't move. He smashed me mate on the right side of his head and knocked me mate down. By this time I'm up. Don't ask me why, but I still thought that we, you know, take him. I don't know, but yeah. After he's put me mate down, he's come over to me, or I might have come over to him. You know, that bit is a bit unclear. So as we've come together, like, you know, he's come to do me from the side. Now with that, I've put my right arm up. But, you know, because the two shots he had at me head, like, thank God, like, I managed to save my head. Anyway, like, you know, this arm was snapped as well. And you know, so just after that, the guy realised that he, you know, not excusing what he done and that, you know, but I think when you're in an anabolic steroid rage, you don't realise what you're doing. And then to me, it was like an incredible help. And then he realises he's outside and, oh shit, it's Christmas morning. You know, everyone's watching it. Everyone's having a commotion. So he's grabbed the bat and he's run off. Like, they jumped in the motor. My mate's thrown me in the car and my mate's chasing him. So, yeah, just give me a second.
You all right there, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a little breather in it, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Yeah.
So from the, you know, I was in hospital. I had a 12-hour operation on both arms, and it was a long time in recovery. In the process of recovery, I had two big plasters on both arms. I'd fallen over and ripped the plates out of my right arm, and then following on from that, I got an infection in it, and with the infection, I had to cut lots of the arm away, and because I have to cut the infection away, so what happens? It ends up shortening your arm a little bit. And I had one Elizarov frame, which you see a lot of people use them when they've had like different surgeries on their legs and things. And I had that on for about 10 months. And then I had a frame underneath there because it was, they took the plate out the bottom because it was infected, but then they put this new thing in. So it was like a bar hanging at the bottom of my arm. And anyway, yeah, so eventually, you know, my arms have healed up. They have healed up now anyway. But a little while after they was healing and whatnot, it was about 6 months. I still had them in plaster, or was it one in plaster? I can't remember now. But so I joined a Christian organisation. You know, I knew that the anger I was feeling towards that guy was turning on him. I was turning like that onto me, and it was just destroying me. You know, I took, if I thought my alcoholism and my drug addiction was bad then, like, and I never thought it would get worse, well, it did. So I just used to drink like until I passed out, basically. I'm not proud of that, you know. I just could not stop, and I could not stop. Just could not stop. And you know, I joined a Christian organisation. I go around there. They'd cook, like, you know. I knew I had to forgive. I didn't know if I wanted to be a Christian. I just knew I had to forgive in order. I needed to start some kind of healing process in me. You know, I come out church one day, and I was walking down the road, and someone said, "Have you heard about your ex-partner?" So I said, "No." They said, "Well, you know, I hope this is right. You know, and I think it's right, but she's like, he's he's um he's killed her." So I said, "No, you're joking," and I was shaking like mad, and you know, anyway, they said, "Look, you know, do what you got to do, Jay. Go home and that, and you know, I'll come back to you as soon as I know exactly." So anyway, in the process, you know, I can't just go home and sit on it. I'm asking other people and that, and it, you know, they said they think so, and that no one really could give me an answer. Anyway, it turns out that yeah, there there'd been some kind of incident, and she ended up um she got out of a motor vehicle. It was a Range Rover, and like she was hit by the front of the vehicle, which damaged her knee and her ankle, and the car then reversed, and she died quickly. You know, I have simmered it down. I used to say it quite explicit, like, you know, but it's too much. There's a lot of sensitive people on there, and I can't really say it how I would normally say it, but I have to think about other people's feelings too. So from then, like, I was really just in a really real bad way. You know, luckily enough, there was an incident before this, and I ended up calling social services because their mum had black eyes. She then brought my son back to her, because she had my son with her. She then brought my son back to her mum. Now, you know, I could see this happening all along, you know, because of the anabolic steroids, because of his temper. I think he was mixing them with Class A's and alcohol too. And you know, I knew that I just escaped with my life, and that he was capable of doing it. You know, so like say, you know what I mean? There wasn't I could see it all happening anyway. My son was safe with her mum. You know, part of me feels guilty for that. You know, I didn't want to. I didn't want my son. She was blinded by him. I didn't want my son witnessing that. Anyway, after that's happened, um, they've gone. No, he's gone. He drove the body 70 miles away from the scene. He's taken her engagement ring off, and then he's flown. He's gone to another country with, you know, with his brother's passport, and then he's gone on the run for a year. You know, it was quite a traumatic time for me because, you know, as much as I thought I was tough and that, you know, every car what was sitting there with its lights on and that, you know, I was a little bit afraid and that. But I just thought, do you know what? You're not against it. You're a pussy. You know what I mean? There's no way, you know what I mean, that you would break. Now my son was in the bedroom when he done me. They was told to go upstairs, wait, be quiet, and whatever. So there's no way you're going to do that. You know what I mean? Break my arms and kill my son. Two separate incidents. You know, two times of anabolic steroid rate, and then still think you're a big boy, like, because you're not. You're a bastard. You know. So anyway, from then, you know, my nut just went totally off it. Um, I know I'm all over the place a little bit and that, but you know, when I do mention that, as I say, it still brings feelings up for me. And although me and my son, we have a great relationship. You know, he's travelled the world and that. At the age of 24, he's done well. He's had some really good jobs, and you know, I'm proud of him. Really proud of him. You know, although he don't really talk a lot about his mum and that, but that's his way of dealing with things. And for me, it was my recovery. You know, I ended up being born again. I I am a born again Christian, but I don't bang the Bible over people's heads, or I'm not in any church or anything at the moment. If people, you know, need strength or to gain strength from anything in life, you know what I mean? If you're close to the brink of, and you need whatever it may be. So anyway, from there, I needed, see, what I come to realise now is I needed whatever part of recovery I could have. Whatever was out there, I took. So I, I started. My son went with his nan, you know, because of this stuff what was going on with me and his mum. I started taking her to court originally, to family justice court, or whatever they call it, you know. So I wanted to make sure that I've seen my son, so I started taking to this court. I very, you know, pretty much realised that it's a one-way court. It's pretty much, in my impression, it's pretty much on the women's side. And as soon as that happened to my partner, they said, "Look, we're really sorry, blah blah blah. You know, do what you can. It's in the hands of the social worker now. You know, you just got to do whatever you can in order to start seeing your son." The tune totally changed, and that was it. So I started meeting my son in the parks with the social worker and whatnot, and in the end, I started seeing him, and it's been like that since. Although, you know, now he's 24. You know, it's like when you're that age, you just text your dad now and again, "How are you, blah blah." But anyway, from the time they'd done that, I just knew that I had to change. I had to change in order to see my son, and that I had to change for myself mainly. I had to change for him, and so I started a drug and alcohol centre. I've done that for a long time. Started doing shiatsu, Reiki, different groups. Started talking about my stuff, and that. A lot of the times when I shared stuff, you know, people always said that mine's not as bad as yours. Well, let me tell you something. Pain is pain. And although I might have gone through traumatic like circumstances of violent stuff, you know, mom, you can't, you know, I will never measure my pain different to yours. You know, pain is pain and it can't be measured. And if, you know, if you're in pain, you know, your pain's unique to you. And no matter how big or, you know, small, it's not small, like, you know, it's your pain. And it's what's kept you drinking, drugging. It triggers another thing, it triggers mental health. I started seeing a specialist. She specialised in EMDR, which is eye movement dissertation, something or other. I don't know the last one, but yeah. So it was someone in Alcoholics Anonymous that heard my story and remembered meeting this lady. It was in a very, very posh part of London, Swiss Cottage, and she normally charged about £100 an hour. But when I first started seeing her, she was charging me £5, and she was fantastic. You know, yeah, the stuff what she done with me, how she put it across, and then you know, I kept going to Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, when I first started though, I had 9 months sober. All along I was puffing. So I had 9 months sober. And then I used to go to the pub and say, yeah, I've not had a drink, I'm not had a drink. My sponsor and other people used to say to me, you don't go in an hairdresser's unless you want an haircut. So I went, no, I'm all right. You know, I was in the pub with like 4 or 5 different people drinking. They're all drinking pints. I'm drinking lime soda water, telling them how great it is to be sober. Like, do you know what I mean? Madness. And in the end, yeah, I drank. And eventually I stopped again. And then I think I puffed for about 10 months again. And I realised that, you know, I was told, like, you know, I was in AA, I was doing, that's why I was going to go on the phone lines and help people out. And this woman said to me, you can't do that, like, unless you're like properly clean and sober, or words to that effect. And I went, what do you mean properly clean and sober? Well, she said, you can't like smoke. And then I thought about that. And anyway, in the end, like, I just realised that I had to come off all mine. So, and it was a struggle. It was really a struggle. I had sleepless nights, horrendous dreams, and on top of that, you know, I had my PTSD, which, you know, I don't know. I never medicated that. And to tell you the truth, I never had a problem with prescription drugs because I took them, like, you know, I didn't abuse prescription. Sorry, just going back again, towards the end of my drinking, when I used to come out the pub late and that, you know, I used to meet crack dealers, and they used to say, do you want a bit of this, come round with me, blah, blah, blah. And I used to end up in a cracking heroin house, and then I started using that for about a month, and luckily enough, I didn't really get a habit. Well, I don't think I did. You know, it was only like a couple of days. Previous to that, I'd done a bit of heroin when I was 17. Um, I used to look after one of my family members who used to go out shoplifting and that lots of stuff, and yeah, and I started doing bits of it then. But you know, as I say, I never really got in big trouble with that. But yeah, coming back to the recovery, like, and the drug and alcohol day centre. I mean, if anyone has got a problem with drugs and alcohol, you know, reach out to someone who has a similar. If you've got problems with mental health, you know, you go to the right people. Like, you know, if you've got problems with drug and alcohol, you go to the right people. But for me, I was always told that once I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, or I went to CA as well, that you can only relate when you've got addictions and things like that. You can only relate to another addict. You know, don't get me wrong. If you're seeing a psychiatrist, if you're seeing a specialist nurse or mental health team, by all means, that's a must. You know, they're your professionals. You have to see them people. But you know, it's not until you talk to another addict, alcoholic, that you really do connect. Now that connection, you know, you feel it in the gut. I mean, when I see my sponsor and he said, look, you either want to do the steps or you don't want to do the steps. And I went, like, and I just didn't know what to say. And I had to pick this sponsor because he would challenge me, and like, and I'm so thankful that I did, because he's really good at the way he, like, the way he put things, you know, he's like been doing it for years. He took hundreds of people through it, and it was really, really great. He also recommended Joe and Charlie tapes. You can get them on Google Play Store. They're for free. So Joe and Charlie tapes. So they're just like Joe and Charlie, like, talking amongst themselves about alcoholism and things. And yeah, it's really, really good. And yeah, so you know, it has been 10 years today that I haven't took a drug or any alcohol. I mean, any kind of drug or any kind of alcohol. Now, with my addiction, you know, I cannot take one of any. I've been in AA with people. I've known people who's been in CA. People like, and they might, think that they can drink again. Well, that's down to them. And some of them do. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. And yeah, but I can't. I just know I can't. I can't have one of anything. You know, what I mean, my addictions come out in other ways now. You know, I've got. I don't know any other ways, but vapes things. I've got this, and I'll use another one. Food shopping, clothes. You know, the addict's still there, like you know what I mean. But I don't poison it with mind-altering substances. You know, I've got a passion for addicts and alcoholics and that. I really, I've been really keen to do something like, and I thought, what an opportunity to do it on the day that you're 10 years clean and sober, and like, it ain't been easy, it ain't, not, but tough times don't last. Like, tough times don't last. You might have a really, really bad day, like, but just go and put your head on the pillow. You might have a rough night. You might not be able to sleep. You might be tossing, turning. I wake up sometimes with vivid dreams and that through the PTSD. And PTSD is I realise that I just don't really bang on about it. But I don't know. Today I think it's the right time. You know what I mean? I think I learned a lot through having the psychologist work specialist, and yeah, I learned a lot about myself and about my things in it. But as I say, now and again, periods of times I do get this. Have I gone on too long, mostly? Mostly.
No, of course you haven't, mate. Go on, you're all right. You crack on.
Sure.
Yeah,
Tommy, you can come in if you want, mate. No, go on. No, I'm pretty much done now. Anyway, I just want to say, if anyone has got a problem and that, reach out. You know what I mean? If if you want to talk about something, addiction or alcoholism, or maybe, I think mostly may open the panel. And
yeah, I'm gonna put the link in a minute.
Yeah. But thanks, people. Thanks for listening. And like as I say, if you're not confident enough coming on the panel, please do so. Though you won't be judged, but you're not suffering alone because I don't take a drink or a drug. You know what I mean? It don't mean, and I might look confident in that, but tell you the truth, like I'm not always. It's only that I'm just very, very, very proud of myself that I don't have to go to bed every night without taking a drink or a drug. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of you whether you're drinking or not or taking anything, because I started off like that, and unless you talk to someone about it, then you're suffering in silence. So thank you, thanks for listening.
It's an amazing thing to be able to sit there and say all that, mate. So
yeah, cool.
Thank you for sharing. It's been interesting to listen to.
Yeah, like I say, I'm a bit all over the place, but I'm a bit all over the place anyway.
Well, it's just your story. You can't get it wrong, can you?
No,
it's your story. So
no, that's right, and it's true, and anyone's like story, and if anyone can say that had their experiences in that, and just to share it with others, if one person can relate to it, then you know, it's a bonus.
Yeah, that's the thing.